everyone. Welcome to Toad TV. I am Mary Beth.
I'm Helen.
We are the creative hands and minds behind Toad Hollow. We have a dog sitting on Helen's feet.
Oh my god.
Today it is
the start of the heat wave here on the East Coast.
Oh my gosh.
And if this is the start, I'm not sure I'm going to last.
It is 89 degrees with a real feel of 101. Hot, humid, and more sun than clouds. It's supposed to become breezy this afternoon. Stay hydrated when outside. And Helen's got a dog, a great big giant floof, lying on her feet.
Great bare knees lying on my feet.
This is the perfect time to do it, man. Absolutely perfect.
He's happy. He's quiet. So.
No garbage picking. That's the other one. She has threads. I don't want her to swallow those.
We're in the sewing room and she's going through my sewing garbage. So
she's telling you that it might be time to empty the sewing garbage.
Right now it's quiet, but if we have lots of traffic noise, I apologize, but the windows are open.
It is.
We don't do air conditioning at the castle. So.
No, the castle does not do air conditioning. However, it's really quite nice up here.
It is.
As Helen said, why aren't we up here all the time? Because it's got a ceiling fan and it's a nice, bright, light, airy room. Windows going around, so it's really quite nice. Yeah, we're in one of the round circular rooms. So, it's a gorgeous day to just sit.
Yeah.
Maybe do some slow stitching or cross stitching.
Yeah.
Put a good book in and just sit back and relax.
Yeah.
First, thank you to everybody who came to Friday's podcast when we released the new yarn.
Right.
Thank you so much to everybody who came in and purchased it. We really, really appreciate it. I love that the mini skein sets are going.
Yeah, mini skeins are always king.
Yeah, so we have the mini skeins and they went really well. But yes, it was a lovely weekend because we just had cha-chings going.
Right.
Really, there's not much better way to spend the weekend. Especially when we took the weekend for our time. So we were doing projects that we wanted to work on and we were listening to books, and periodically your book would be interrupted by a cha-ching. And it just really was a lovely, lovely way to spend the weekend.
It was a beautiful weather-wise weekend, and because I thought the heat wave was starting over the weekend and it did not. It was absolutely spectacular.
It was.
So
it was gorgeous.
So yeah, we got lots of stuff done.
Thank you very much. So we will be dyeing all of those this week. As of today, the July mystery skeins are up for sale.
Right.
So those are our 4 clubs that we have. We have our Disney Pixar club that we take inspiration from Disney and Pixar movies or characters. We have our favorite books. We are doing that a little bit differently now. We are going back to favorite books from childhood and finding illustrations that go with them and then drawing inspiration for that. We have our Denizens of the Hollow, where we find creatures, whether they be real or imaginary, that we think would have a lovely time here at the Hollow. The Blue Jay was June's Denizen of the Hollow, and that went over like a real treat because we got lots of comments on that. And then we have our newest one, which is Who Runs the World, and that is strong women in the arts, STEM, music, everything like that. Yeah. So the mystery ones go on sale from the 18th through the 24th of every month, and then they ship out the first week of the following month. This is for people who want to get it as a mystery. If you don't want to know, if you like the excitement of getting a package in the mail and you don't know what's inside it, this is for you. Right. For everybody else who likes to see it ahead of time and then decide, do I want this or not, those go on sale the following month on the 1st. So July 1st, all of June's yarns will be on sale. A little bit convoluted, but starting today through the 24th, the 4 clubs are now on sale for July for the mystery.
Right.
And then we get to do my favorite part, which is design the yarn. Because I love going through and finding the inspiration pictures and then picking out the colors and doing that. That's one of my favorite parts. So we get to do that next week.
And Patreon, your picture to vote on will be going up this week, so keep an eye out for that, because our top tier patrons get a mystery skein each month based on an inspiration picture. We give you 3 inspiration pictures to choose from. So the voting will start on that this week, because everything will be dyed next week.
Yes. So this week it's all dyeing beachcomber.
Right.
We're going to be dyeing up all the beachcombers and the bits and bobs that came through from people who went and found other yarns in our shop that they wanted.
Right.
So as much as we could, we have sent everything out, but the ones that still need to be dyed will be done this week. Dye schedule's getting kind of full.
Yeah.
But if there's anything you want, go get it. Anyway, so there's that. So that's the admin pretty much, right?
I think so. Yeah.
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 All the beachcomber is still on sale. Somebody had a question asking whether this yarns, whether there was a limited time for it or whether it would be available for a while. Each collection is available for at least 3 months, and then we decide if we're going to retire it or not. The Secret Gardens, which was our last collection, is still doing really well, so that is continuing on. Beachcomber will be going for at least 3 months.
Yeah. So you have the summer.
Yeah, you have the summer, and then we decide whether we think it's time to retire it or whether we let it keep going, depending on how you guys are doing.
Popularity.
Yeah. But yes, so for those 2 collections, they're still going. And then pretty much all our other yarn, unless it's really dropped in circulation,
Right.
we keep it going.
Some just drop off based on,
Yeah.
orders or lack thereof. So no fanfare or anything. We just
Quietly retire them.
we
But-
don't want to make them feel bad.
No. There's
but-
no yarn shaming here.
So yeah.
Yeah. Okay, and all the yarns are available in all our bases.
Okay, so we're going to show you some progress on our projects. Starting off with knitting.
How many projects do you have?
I have 3.
I have 1. So I will let
Okay.
you go.
These are all my beachcomber projects that I showed on Friday, and I did a little bit of them since Friday. So first off are my puffle socks. I had 1 of each color combination done for Friday's release. So I started the second one in cockle shells and sand, and I have gotten to the heel.
Wow.
These socks knit so fast.
Yeah.
So the leg is done, and I am in position to do my heel. And I hit that last night at about 9:30, and I'm like, yeah, we'll save
Done.
that. We'll save the heel for tomorrow or in the next day, because I'm kind of alternating projects.
Okay.
So, this is cockle shells and sand is the main color. The pattern is Puffle Socks by My Yarny Creations, I'm pretty sure her name is. I'll put a link to the pattern. But as I said, this is such a fun pattern to knit. It knits up so fast. Each stripe is 4 rows, so you carry your yarn, no end. You're not constantly cutting yarn or anything like that. So, love them.
That's gorgeous.
Yeah.
That really is.
And the back is stockinette. So,
It's beautiful. I love that color.
I do
The
too.
color combination
Yeah.
is gorgeous.
So this is cockle shells. Kicked up.
Okay.
Very summery.
Yes. Next.
Next is my North Star shawl. This I'm doing out of tourmaline, which is one of the beach glass colors. Beach glass?
Sea glass.
Sea glass colors. This is Helen Stewart's newest pattern. It is a 1 skein shawl.
How far are you as far as percentage wise?
55.
Okay.
About that much left.
Okay.
Probably 30-ish grams, 30, 40 grams. It's a very simple shawl. You have increases every other row, and then every 3 rows you're adding in the stars. So it's
beautiful.
potato chip knitting. I love the color.
Oh my God, the color is gorgeous.
It's going to be a perfect spring summer shawl, and it's just going to be an asymmetrical triangle. Very, very simple. Good TV knitting.
Yes. I saw that somebody did the Red Robin shawl on Crafting with the Toads. We have a Facebook group called Crafting with the Toads where people put up pictures of the things that they're making. And she was doing the Red Robin shawl, which is also Helen Stewart, a 1 skein shawl. And she was saying that it came out a little bit smaller than she expected. And I left her a comment and said, I find them perfect for tucking into a winter coat or a sweater during like late fall when it's getting to be, you want your heavy sweater on top type of thing. I find that type of shawl perfect for that. But as Helen said, now it's on to the 3 and 4 skein shawls.
Right.
You know?
And if you want to see it, it's in the montage at the end.
Okay.
Her shawl. And she did it up in dahlias from our color, because I adore that color.
It is a beautiful color. Really beautiful. Okay. I am doing the Knitflix and Chill shawl by Annie no.
Yeah.
Is it Annie Lipton?
Mm-hmm.
Yes. The other one is, I'm thinking the other shawl that's the Noble Thread.
Oh, okay.
This one is Boho Chic, which is Annie Lipton. I am doing it in the clamshells, which is the pink and purple, and the contrast is Welks from the new Beachcomber collection. I am about 3.5 rows from finishing, so I am almost there. I'm in the middle of a row.
Boy, 101 degrees is the perfect time to be knitting a 600 stitch shawl.
This
Thank God you're almost done, because you would probably...
is how it looks.
It's
This
such a cool
color
pattern.
is so gorgeous. Honestly, the clamshells color is just spectacular. And then you throw the Welks on at the bottom, and I adore this combination. But this color is just, oh,
Yeah.
it kills me. Anyway. So here, I'll pull this down so you can see how it looks. I was really worried that mine was going to be so much smaller than the one that we had knit up as a sample for us, because it seems so much smaller. But it really isn't. It is about the same size. The big part of it isn't from top to bottom, it's the width.
Right.
This is a really wide shawl. So I'm going to finish this up this week. I am doing this, somebody asked what size needle I'm doing it on. I am doing it on a size 5. She calls for a 3. I tend to be a tighter knitter, so I tend to go up at least 1 needle size, if not 2. So I did it on a 5 this time.
Does she? Do you remember? Does she call for a like lace to fingering weight, and that may be why she's on a lower? But you don't know.
I don't know. I didn't
Okay.
even look. I just started knitting it on fingering. I did not even think to look at that. Just started
Okay.
knitting away.
So I think
However-
5 is a very good. A 5 or a 6 is a very good.
Is a really good fingering weight shawl.
Size needle
Yeah.
for a fingering weight shawl. So, and it would be. Can you imagine how much smaller it would be?
Yeah, I don't know.
Yeah.
Anyway, I am really enjoying this knit. Right now I'm on the ribbing, which is just 2x2. It's a piece of cake. This part up here was very easy to remember, and then you go into the garter, which is really, but yes, it's a wonderful shawl to knit. It's a lot of fun. A couple of different textures, so you're not doing exactly the same thing over and over again. I am well over 600 stitches right now, so that's why it looks so small, because it's bunched up on needles, but when I finish it,
I love the
It will
waffle
be-
stitch. At the
I
top.
know it's just such a pretty stitch, and the yarn is just,
Yeah.
it calls for tassels, and I am going to put the tassels on because I love, with our sample one that was knit up, I love the fact that the tassels add just that little bit of weight at the end of the shawl, so that if you're casually flinging it over your shoulder, it
Right.
stays there.
Yeah.
It doesn't automatically slide off. That tassel gives it just that little bit of weight. So I will definitely do it on either end. I don't know if I'm going to do it on the bottom. I probably will. But that is how it's looking right now.
It's gorgeous.
So as I said, I am 3.5 rows from finishing and then an I-cord bind off. So I should be hopefully done by Friday. But yeah.
And then Friday is supposed to be like probably the hottest of this heat wave. So Mary Beth will be wearing her monster shawl.
We will be filming from the car, which is where we have air conditioning.
Okay, my last project, knitting project, is the Dingley Dell sweater by Isabel Kramer that I am knitting. I am knitting it up in Whelks and sand. And I'm about 10 rows from being able to join this baby in the round and really start going with it. But you get to see the stripes. She designed it to be reminiscent of what she says, the cricket sweaters from the 90s, which I'm guessing were big bands of color blocking.
So cool.
I love these colors together.
I know you're adding more of a collar on,
Yeah.
but I love just the tiny little bit
Yeah,
of blue up here.
yeah.
And I think you have an option of putting like a thin band of one of the colors, the other color in there. I'm pretty sure I have a thin band of pink in my blue type of thing, so that because I have one of these done in crab picking, and I'm late from our Alice in Wonderland series, and I think I'm almost positive there's a thin
There is,
band.
and you have it on your ribbing
too. Yeah.
So yeah, love knitting it. Will love knitting it more once I'm in the round.
You're
And I
really
can
coming
just-
along on
And I
it.
can just be, knit.
Yep.
So, and this color, this Whelks color
I love that.
with the greens and the blues.
It's such a good color.
Yeah.
That is where we are on knitting. It was just Friday that we showed you these things, so
Yeah.
it has only been 4 days. But just the colors are spectacular. All right, shall we talk about things that aren't knitting?
Yes.
Okay. I have a project that I've been working on in the mornings, and I'm not allowed to buy another Lego yet because I went through the first one way too fast. I did the Snow White and the Seven Dwarfs, and I had a lovely, lovely time doing it for about 5 days, and it's just way too much to spend per day for something like that. So Helen had given me a Booknook kit, I think 2 years ago for my birthday or 3 years ago for my birthday, and I never did it. So I broke it out, and I decided I was going to start it. This is what I do first thing in the morning when I'm up very early with Ivy. I take the dogs out, let them do their thing, do my New York Times puzzles, and then I come in and I plug my book in and work on something with my hands. And this is
so cool.
The Eternal Bookstore is the name of it. And this
If
is
I
how
can
it
find
looks.
a link to it, I will put it down below.
But one of the cool things is it has light. So there's a ladder back there and an old-fashioned book holder. My grandmother had one of those.
And like a dictionary table.
Like a dictionary table. There are bookcases all over the place. On this side, there's a mantle with a mirror, an actual mirror.
I
There
love the mirror.
paintings on the walls, balconies, all sorts of really beautiful things.
And I love the three-dimensionality of the room down here. goes beyond.
Yes, there's a staircase back there that goes up to the second floor. There's a dog asleep on the rug, you know, as there should be. So anyway, this is the Eternal Bookstore is the name of it. I love here. It says, I don't know whether you can see it, but it says start all over again, because with a good book, you can start all over again. You cannot change the life length, but you can change its width. I don't know who said that.
Okay.
I'll have to look that up. Anyway.
So lots of gluing.
Lots of gluing. I was very sticky for a couple of days.
But you said it went together better than the other one.
It did, because this was my second one doing this type of project. So it, I was a little bit more careful punching out the wooden pieces, so I didn't have quite so many broken pieces. There are a couple of table legs in there that are a little bit wonky, but I just put a great big dollop of glue on the floor and stuck it in there and made it stay. The instructions were very, very good. Okay. I did notice that whenever they gave you instructions, they gave them to you in English and Chinese. They're written instructions, but most of it is pictures. It's kind of like, you know, putting together IKEA furniture. Okay. If you can follow IKEA furniture, you can do this. So yes, that's what I've been doing this in the mornings. So now I have to do another one because I have to find something else to do. I really like having that quiet time. Yeah. It's my quiet, you know, I could sit and make something with my hands that
you're not normally doing, like
right.
You're knitting or other stuff that you normally do.
Right. I don't give myself time to do it during the day, so this is my time in the very early mornings.
It's 5 a.m.
Yeah. We're trying to break her of this, but she is not.
She's
very
stubborn riser.
Yes, she is. She's just, and I said to Helen, it is really hard to get mad when somebody, her entire body is wagging. She's so excited that she's woken you up and you're awake and ready to go outside with her. I mean, she just, her entire body wags. So I can't get mad at her for that.
She's a very sweet girl.
She is. Oh, she has this new thing that when she's trying to get your attention, she just comes and she puts her paw very gently on your arm. She watches Hugo do it.
I was going to say, she learned it from Hugo. Hugo it's a Great Pyrenees trait where they, not gently.
We tell him he doesn't realize the power behind the paw.
When he wants your attention, it's the Great Pyrenees paw, and it's
I cannot tell you how many skirts are ripped because a claw got caught on it on the way down.
Just scratch marks.
Yeah.
He doesn't mean to. It's just he doesn't realize the power of the paw. And she has watched that he does that, and then we're like, oh, Hugo, and we are all over him. So now she does it, and it's so sweet.
Because she just comes and she just does this very gentle pat.
You start petting her, and then if you stop, and then she just kind of raises her paw, and sometimes she just raises it. She doesn't even pat you. She's so sweet.
She's this really, really sweet dog.
Really, I think she's allowed herself to believe that this might be it and it's going to work. Right. Because she's becoming more relaxed. She's much better with me and my mom. She was very skittish of me and very, very skittish of our mom, especially my mom uses a cane. But now she goes to sniff out our mom, and she lets me do just about anything. In the mornings, she still runs away from me. Yes. I don't know what it is about the mornings. But.
I don't know, but it's as the day goes on, then she's much better. Yeah. But she is, and she likes to know where we are, so she comes and follows us, which is just.
I mean, when you're not downstairs, and I let her in, and first thing she knows you're not downstairs, heads straight upstairs, goes tearing up the stairs.
But okay,
right. So last week we were talking about on the podcast that we were falling down slow stitching videos rabbit hole, and that we were just watching a whole bunch of videos about slow stitching.
And so many of you were doing it.
But all of a sudden, it seems to be the trend. It's like,
everybody's talking about slow stitching.
Crochet is very hot right now, and slow stitching is I'm
doing as a whole.
Oh, yeah.
Creative people, knitters, they don't just knit.
Right.
They sew. They crochet. They stitch.
Yeah.
We do everything. It's who we are.
So I was thinking that this past weekend I was going to put together a bunch of squares with our scraps to prepare for slow stitching. But I hate the prep part of things. I always want to jump right in.
Right.
I don't want to, like, cross stitch, just starting a cross stitch project. I don't want to spend the time gathering all my threads and getting everything put together and my thread board and everything. I want to start stitching
Right
away. So I was thinking about it Saturday morning, and I thought, I have a project waiting for slow stitching. Because if you remember, Marybeth and I, a couple months ago, started putting together our Sue Spargo chirp quilt. And we each did a bird. Marybeth put together this bird, and I put together him, and we got them attached to the felt back, because you're using wool felt to put it all together. So we cut out all the individual pieces of the birds and put the birds on the backing fabric. But then you still need to do all the stitching to go with it. So I thought, all right, I want to do slow stitching. I will do my bird. So I started, and I did his legs, which is a couching stitch. And then I did his tail, which is, the Palestrina knot. This is tail. And then I've chain stitched around the wing and around the body. I've stitched around the body on his belly. So now I have to do the feathers here. There's something with his eye. And I think that's just about, I have to do the pinwheels in these circles here.
Okay.
Oh, gotta put feathers up here too. I got a lot to do. But I'm really enjoying it. It's a very, as Marybeth likes to put her things together, I like doing this, either this or my English paper piecing in the morning. And it's just, I'm like, this is perfect. I get to scratch the slow stitching itch, and I'm continuing on a project that we started and abandoned.
Not so much abandoned as moved on to other things, and we will be coming back to it.
Right. And I have loved this quilt since you put it out.
Right.
So it's Sue Spargo, the chirp quilt. You get a book, and then you have to buy all the wool felt and threads and everything. But we had all those on hand, so very exciting.
Yes. Beautiful. Absolutely beautiful. Very cool.
Yes.
You're going to get me doing that now.
Yeah. Well, hurry up, because I was thinking I'd do yours if you didn't jump on.
Oh, okay. Go ahead. We'll see where I am. See what happens.
I'm not that excited.
Well, no, because I may do your wooden box for you. You know?
Okay, yeah, that's fine.
I don't know. We'll see. But yes, no, it's really they're so cool.
Yeah.
They're beautiful, beautiful birds, and there are lots to do.
Yes, there are.
Cool.
And I have a whole nother pattern after this.
Also,
Of
we
hers.
have the book that has her book of stitches.
Right.
We have, I think, 2 copies of that, actually. But we have the book of stitches, so when she says do the crouch stitch or whatever, we have it in it.
And she gives you the page number in the book.
Okay.
So all you have to do is just get your stitching, because it's her stitching book, or stitch book. And you just flip to the page, and it tells you how to do it. The Palestrina knot, I did have to go and watch somebody else do it.
Okay.
Because her instructions were not overly clear, and I'm much better with a visual of somebody actually doing it.
Yeah, I am very, there are several times during things where I'm like, oh, I cannot figure this out no matter what I do. Sometimes talking it over with Helen and reading through the instructions line by line and then talking about it, then all of a sudden it clicks in my mind. But a lot of times I have to watch it.
Right.
And then once I watch it, I'm like, oh, all right.
Yeah.
That makes sense.
That's a piece of cake. And they're just, explaining stitches, but with the written word and a couple of small pictures is not the easiest thing in the world to do.
No.
I don't know what we all did before YouTube.
Well, I would not be crocheting or a whole bunch of other things because I wouldn't be quilting. I started quilting because we watched Missouri Star,
Right.
and that's what got me onto
Yeah.
quilting. So yeah, so many things. Okay, all right. Shall we talk about the weekend?
Yeah.
Okay, this past weekend, basking in the sails of our yarn, we decided that we were going to work on things that were not work related. They didn't have anything to do with Toad Hollow or the shop or anything like that. It was just, we were going to relax and do something fun.
Right.
And we had pretty much come to the conclusion that we both wanted to sew. The big thing was how Ivy was going to react to being in the sewing room with us, because we wanted to make sure she was here with us. We knew what she was doing, where she was, that kind of thing.
I was going to say, Ivy is still in the stage where we must know where she is at all times.
Well, and also she likes to know where we are.
Yeah.
So it works out very well for both of us. But we were trying to decide, we wanted to get her up here and see how she did. So we decided we were going to do something sewing, which we both have been getting the itch for anyway. And as it turns out, it works out very, very well, because she and Hugo come up, they crash for their morning nap, and they're really the best dogs, because then when they're ready to get up and move, it's time for us to get up and move, and we take them down and outside, and it works out very, very well. But we do get like a 2 to 3 hour window where we can come up here and sew for a bit without really worrying, you know, with the dogs running up and downstairs and that sort of thing.
Yeah.
So we were playing around with ideas on Friday night at 11 o'clock when we're walking the dogs. You know, what do you want to do tomorrow, type of thing. And we were talking about playing around with fabric and making a bag. Not so much, for me, it wasn't going to be following a pattern. It was more putting things together and see what happens. So I got my fabric that I was going to work with and everything, and I came upstairs and I sat down and I was looking at it, and I looked to my left, and there was my Halloween hexie quilt that I had done 4 of the rows already, or the columns. I did 4 of the columns already, and I had a pile of hexies just sitting right there ready to go, just to be sewn together. And I thought, you know what? Today's the day. I'm finishing my Halloween hexie quilt, because that's what is really calling to me. So I did. So here is a video of my quilt. So the fabrics I got when we went on the quilt walk, was it the quilt walk?
It's a New Jersey quilt shop hop.
The shop hop, that's what it was. It was about 2 years ago. Yeah, that we went. Okay. Anyway, people had their Halloween fabrics out, so I grabbed fat quarters from a bunch of different places, and one store had a couple of pieces from one line together in a bundle. You know, I just got a bunch of different Halloween fabrics, and that was going to be my Halloween quilt. I cut out full-size hexies. I did 8 columns of 8 hexies in each. 5-inch hexie, I think it is.
So we have a 5-inch hexie template that you used, and then
Cut them all out.
just cut them all out, and then it gives you like what, an 8.5-inch high block?
It is, with the sewing, it is about 8 inches.
Okay.
And I have them going in different directions. I don't have them all facing one way, directionality type of thing. I wanted it to be that when I spread it out on my bed, you know, sometimes you have it so that it's one way, but then when you get into bed, you're looking at it upside down type of thing. So I have it going both ways. But I had a lot of fun putting it together. I did have a bit of an issue when I got to the corners, you know, sewing the hexies together at the corners, but I played around with it and I figured out how to do it, because I did it, I went and watched a YouTube video on how to do it after I had put together all my columns, and the first thing they tell you is you don't sew it straight across. You start 1/4 of an inch in and stop 1/4 of an inch before you get to the end. and I had sewn them all across, straight across. So I figured out a way that works for me. It probably would not pass the quilt police. However, I think it's going to pucker a little bit in the corners. I don't care. I will.
You're going to sandwich it, quilt it, and by that time, nobody's going to notice anything.
Right, exactly. But
and you're not, you know, you're not submitting it for
anything.
inspection or anything.
It's going to go on my bed.
Yeah. It's fantastic.
I love the way it works.
I love a good patchwork quilt.
Yes.
So
here, I mean, it's got lots of really cool fabrics in it, and I'm very pleased with the way it turned out.
And then it's done.
It is. It did take me 2 days to finish. I did not get it done in a day. It took me 2 days to finish.
So are you going to
Trim off the top, yes.
chop them, or are you going to do it uneven quilt?
No, I'm going to chop it.
Okay.
I'm going to chop it. Oh my God, my
I was going to say your OCD brain cannot handle.
it would not be able to handle that. I will be
Also, cutting your backing fabric to match it would just be a pain.
right. Yeah, no, I'm going to trim it down and chop it.
So you can see here that it's uneven. So we have to make these half hexies,
Right.
and then you'll trim down here.
Yes.
You'll
Yes.
square it off.
I will
Okay.
square off everything
Okay.
so that it will be a completely squared off quilt, and then I will sandwich it and baste it and stitch it together. I don't know. I don't think I'm going to hand stitch it. I really don't. I don't see that being my path in life. I will machine quilt it. I don't know how I'm going to machine quilt it. I could do it that I do stitch in the ditch, which I do sometimes, but I also like the look where you do like half inch on either side of the seam, so it kind of puffs up the middle part.
Yeah, and it really shows off your pattern.
Right. I am not going to do like going straight up and down
Right.
in the middle of the fabrics, because I love the fabrics. So I'm going to do it that it's
Yeah, and I do. I'm with you. I love that look where you just come in and outline.
right. So I think that probably will be the way I do it. So what you would do is you line up so you're a half inch inside the seam and just go around the hexie that way, and then on the next hexie you're half inch inside the seam, so there's like an inch crossing the seam.
Yeah.
So I don't know, we'll see. It actually will be closer to 3/8 of an inch, because that's the width of my foot, my stitching foot, and then I just line up the stitching foot with the seam and go along,
Yeah.
and it makes life very, very easy. Anyway, so that's my Halloween quilt. I don't know when I'm going to baste it, because now I want to make another quilt top, and it may be that I just make a whole bunch of quilt tops and then
We need to find a long armor
yeah, I don't know.
and just send them out.
We'll see. But the top is done.
Basting is my worst.
Yes. What we need to do is
I
set
don't
up
mind
the
binding
table.
it and just have a basting party.
Yeah,
Just
we have
baste
to
a whole
clear
bunch
the
of them.
table and just baste a whole bunch of them and do it then.
It's not that hard.
It
And really,
isn't.
when we actually do it, it's like, oh, really? Why was I waiting so long?
The worst part of it is cutting the batting and the backing fabric and
Yeah.
getting them together. But I just moved an entire bag of Halloween fabric out into the hallway, because I kept tripping over it, so I moved it out. But we have tons of Halloween fabric,
Right.
so the backing is not going to be
Oh,
a
no,
problem for
no,
this
not
at
at
all. And then we have great big rolls of batting. They're difficult to cut,
Yes.
but
But it can be done.
it is
So-
it is workable.
Yeah.
Okay, what was your project?
So I decided to make a bag. And I made, it's very heavy because I've stuffed it, a giant duffel bag. I used,
This is a bag that is big enough that Ivy could fit in there.
I'm pretty sure.
Oh no,
I'm
I'm
pretty
serious.
sure. We might even get Ivy and Dudley in there.
Oh yeah, definitely.
It's an overnight bag.
It is. It's fantastic.
So I used the
Leapfrog?
The leapfrog fabric. To me, decisions are always the hardest part. I had to decide what kind of bag I was going to make, and then I had to make decisions on fabric, and I wandered around this room, because you can see we've got our fabrics all out, just looking at fabrics, and I'm thinking, oh, you know, we're doing beachcomber, so maybe I'll do our under the sea fabric. But that wasn't speaking to me, and then, like, you know what, I'd love a knitted dram. I haven't done anything with leapfrog, so, and I had just finished cutting it for an order.
I am not gonna lie. This color green
Yes.
is one of my most favorite colors in the world. I love that color green. So that the minute you start walking around and looking for colors and that kind of thing, my eye will go to that, and
Right.
it will be, that's what I want.
So,
And then you look and see that you have, I think it's on the other side.
I have like 10 yards of fabric in this bag. Just fill it out.
This guy right here. And then you see that you have him just sitting there, you know, hanging out, having a fun
How you
time.
doing?
That's it, exactly. It's like the Joey Tribbiani of frogs. And it's, how can you not do
Right.
this fabric? I adore it. Okay.
It was a really fun bag to put together.
There actually is on the side. Okay. Here. And then, gotta get closer. Turn it this way. Okay. There is a frog smoking. He's actually having a cigarette. She has quite a sense of humor. Doesn't need to drown.
Yes. So I'm going to make it again because the pattern called for a 14-inch zipper, but this is like a 27-inch wide bag. And I know it got boxed in a little bit on the sides, but there's no reason why I can't put an 18-inch zipper in here.
Okay.
So I'm going to do it again with a larger zipper.
Okay, so you had a question about the interfacing that you used versus the...
They called for fusible fleece for the outside fabric and then regular interfacing for the inside fabric.
Did they have you quilt it?
No.
No,
because you
okay.
and the thing is, if you use fusible fleece, it fuses to the
Right.
fabric, so you don't have to quilt it if you don't want to. But we don't have fusible fleece on hand. I had fleece or batting
Okay.
that I could have used, but then I would have had to quilt it, and I didn't want to take the time to quilt it. I wanted to finish the bag in the weekend, and I knew that quilting it was going to take a lot
A lot
of time.
yeah.
So I think I may order some fusible fleece for the next one.
I personally love it with the interfacing the way it is.
I want to see durability wise how I think it is, so I want to do one up in the fusible fleece just to see, because this is an overnight bag and I'm using a used like regular shirt interfacing, which adds durability to the cotton, but will it stand up
Okay.
to the bag being thrown around and,
Right.
you know, that kind of thing.
What about the heavier interfacing that we had?
That
Not the
I don't-
heavy.
No, I know, but I don't like the look of that because that wrinkles.
Right, okay.
Because part of the problem is you're dealing with one of the things is we put our interfacing on our fabric using a heat press, and our heat press is 15 by 15 square, and I am working with a 21 by 27-inch piece of fabric that I had to interface, and I thought about it afterwards after I struggled with it, that I should have just lightly ironed the interfacing on
Right.
with it lying flat, and then it would have gone through the heat press so much faster. We use the heat press because it gives it such a better seal to the fabric than just regular iron, unless you want to stand there for 5 minutes each.
But even then, even doing that, the heat press not only puts in the really high heat, it also puts in the pressure because
Right.
you're locking two plates down together. You're basically locking these two plates together. So that's giving it a tremendous amount of pressure that you're not going to get from just ironing.
Right. So that I would do.
I think that's a good idea.
You know, just iron it down just so it sticks, and I've got it straight.
Right.
And no puckers.
Right.
And then, because once you put it on with the heat press, it doesn't come off.
Nope.
I mean, it's on.
That baby, she is on.
So I do want to see how another one would look with
Okay.
the fleece as opposed to just the regular intricacy.
Okay, so you had a bit of an issue with everything was going easily, right? Until you got to the top.
Oh yeah, it was, you're supposed to box in the top, and their instructions were terrible. It was, you know, after everything's put together, because you box before you turn everything right side out, and when you're boxing the bottoms and everything. But then you've got everything turned right side out. It's your hole that you turn things out is sealed and
Right.
everything, and then you're supposed to do something on the outside to box the top, and it was just, you know, box it like you did the bottom, which made absolutely no sense to me because you go straight across, and then I have this triangle sticking out
Right.
that I had no, and you can't cut it because it's the outside of the bag. So then
And you tried doing it on the inside to see how it would look
Right.
with it on the inside, and that didn't
and
line
that
up
didn't
right.
work either.
Right.
So I finally, Mary Beth and I kind of talked it through, and what we did was I just put like a seam going across here, and then pushed. So you can see, this is the, and then you just push it in, and it stays in.
We had done something similar to this on another bag that we
Right.
had done, so that we had something that we could
We were kind of
relate
going,
it back
yeah.
to.
So that was my fix there. I love the bag. I kind of see it as, you know, when I get to travel, I will put all of my projects in this bag. So all my project bags will go in this bag.
To me, it's just, I remember getting packed for the beach when we would go down for the weekend.
Right.
And you needed 2 pairs of shorts and 2 t-shirts and a couple of pairs of underwear and maybe some socks.
And your book and
Right, and something to sleep in.
right.
And that is the perfect size for going away
Yeah.
for the weekend. You know, you just tuck everything in there and you're good to go.
I mean, I don't know what planes allow these days, but to me, it would be a good carry-on.
Right.
So, yeah.
It's
Or,
gorgeous.
you know, you're going to a show and you have to bring all your projects with you.
There you go.
Um,
God, can you remember when we were going to Maryland that first time and we had 7 different cross-stitching projects because we were doing
the
May Mania or the Stitch Mania. So we had 7 different cross-stitch projects, and you had your knitting projects and everything, and it was just our project bag was bigger than everything
anything
else.
else, yeah.
Yeah,
So,
beautiful, absolutely beautiful.
Yeah.
That's a really, really nice bag.
so I just have to decide what my next fabric line will be for the next one, order the fleece, and I will put one together. But it's really, it's a simple bag to put together.
Easily done in a weekend.
Oh, yeah, yeah.
Okay. All right. I may have to do one just because I have complete envy for that bag. I love that fabric line. I think it's
Yeah.
fantastic, and I think I need one. I'll just have to rearrange the fabrics a little bit so that they don't get confused.
And just
At
use
the
a different
airport.
color.
Yeah. But yes, definitely. All right, and it's perfect for the crafty toads to be wandering around with
but it-
some
yeah.
amphibian bags, you know. Okay.
Look at him.
Can you get him up closer to the camera? I mean,
He's
honestly,
just lounging with his children. It's probably a she. Well, it's lounging. It's a he. So yeah.
they're fantastic.
Yeah,
They really are.
It's the Anita Jerem leapfrog line.
And the colors are gorgeous. I love
They're
that color
perfect
line.
for us. Yeah.
Yeah. Good job, you.
Thank you.
All right. All right. That is it as far as creativity.
Right.
That is what we have been working on.
This is a long one.
I know. Well, we had a lot to talk about.
We did.
Lots of different things. Okay. Very quickly before we get into our reading and watching schedules, I did want to say We're going to do our next podcast on Friday, which is our live podcast, noon on Friday. And we asked on Friday if you have any questions about yarn pairings, put them in the comments, please, so that we can answer them for you.
Right. And this is, you can ask about other colors, but it's mainly to pair up the Beachcomber collection.
Oh, yeah, but if you have other colors, by all means, put them in. But if you have anything, please leave it in the comments so that we can gather all the yarn together and have it ready to show you. Okay. All right. Watching.
Let's see. We finished up The Gilded Age. We did both seasons of that, and we're very disappointed that the third season hasn't even started filming yet.
I am invested in these people's lives. Seriously invested. And this is including watching it with my mother, where you have to stop a lot to answer questions.
Right.
That is a good show.
Yeah.
I really enjoyed that. I didn't think I was going to like it as much as I did.
No, we put it off for a while, just for whatever reason there was a block there. But, really, why? Julian Fellows.
Christine Baranski at her snarkiest. Honestly.
And it just
Nathan Lane just chewing up the scenery.
Beautiful costumes and architecture.
The dresses.
Yeah.
The dresses were amazing.
This is just money.
Yeah. Oh my God, the amount of money.
Lots of money. So, we finished that up. We finished up all 3 seasons of Jack Ryan.
Well, we finished up the first 3. There's a 4th. We're going into the 4th.
There is a 4th?
There's a 4th.
Oh, I thought there were only 3.
No, there's a 4th. We're about to start the 4th.
Ah, okay.
So.
Wow, I didn't realize we were that far behind. Okay.
Yep. So we are about to start the 4th. We did watch. Oh my God! It's completely left my head. Oh, we watched a show called Britain by the Book.
That was so much fun.
Why
is there only 1 episode?
I don't know. It's Mel C, I think. Mel S? Maybe Mel
No,
S.
it's C, I'm pretty sure.
Okay. The first seasons of the Great British Baking Show, you had Mel and Mel, or Sue and Mel?
Sue and Mel, yeah.
Sue and Mel. Mel was one of the hosts. She is doing this with Martin Clunes, who is Doc Martin. Only he's not sour like Doc Martin. He's laughing and having fun, and he's funny.
They just go off into giggles.
Honestly.
It's just 2 old friends wandering through Dorset County, England, to famous book places. Places from famous works of literature.
So they centered on Thomas Hardy and Enid Blyton.
Right.
Because 5 children in no, it wasn't 5 children in it. It was
the 5.
The famous 5.
The famous 5.
That series was set in and around Dorset. And Thomas Hardy was very big.
And born there.
They talked to Raynor Wynn, who is the author of The Salt Path. She and her husband Moth decided to walk the Salt Path. It's a 630-mile path that walks up the southwest coast of England. And they decided they were going to do this after he was diagnosed with corticobasal degeneration, and they became homeless after a friend of theirs got into trouble with his company, and he used their farm as collateral when he shouldn't have, but it was a big mess. They were homeless. So they decided to walk this path because his disease was better when he was moving. Anyway, they walked along this path, and she decided to write about it and camping out on it and the nature that they saw and that kind of thing. It sounds really, really good. It's a memoir of their lives. But it was talking about all these different books that were set in and around Dorset. And
it started off with the French Lieutenant's Woman.
Yes.
It's just so much fun. We found it on Acorn TV. That was how we were able to watch it. So it's not widely available here in the States. You have to have Acorn.
Yeah, that was the only place that we could find it.
But to our British watchers, if you could talk to her and have her film more episodes, please. That was so much fun.
Please, because I enjoyed that so much. Right. The 2 of them just, I mean, at one point she sits down on a bench and he sits next to her and they break it. And then he's like, quick, nobody saw. Even though they're filming it. And the first thing she does is the next person she sees, she says, we broke a bench. It was so much fun.
It was.
So I would very, very much recommend that. Because reading England and two very funny old friends is perfect. So we were watching that.
And they were, at one point, they were walking one of the old Iron Age forts. And he had his dog. I'm like, okay, when I envision hiking, this is it.
Exactly.
Not humid wandering through forest crap here. I envision walking an Iron Age fort with my dogs off leash, just padding along behind me.
Yes. It was lovely. Absolutely lovely. So we watched that.
Yeah.
So right now, we are going into season 4 of Jack Ryan, and I'm not sure what we're doing other than that yet.
Yeah, we need to find something else to watch with the woman.
Yeah. You know, the little woman. All right. So, books. So we have been reading lots of good books. I have, so far, I brought up my journals so that I could have them here. I have finished... the right page. Okay. I have finished 6 and I have 2 more that I am doing right now.
This is just in June.
This is in June.
I have finished 4.
And you have 2 more that are
But
good.
I have 2 more that are going.
Okay. So we both did Happy Place by Emily Henry. Yes. Emily Henry, I got that right.
Yep.
I enjoyed that quite a bit.
Yes.
6 friends get together. They get together at a Maine beach house every year for Lobster Fest. And they've been getting together since college. And it's just the way they interact with each other. It's quippy, fun.
She has very good banter
Yes.
between her characters. It's one of the things I really enjoy about Emily Henry, is that it is the banter between her main characters and their sidekicks.
I thought that the people were very realistic.
Yeah.
And the relationships were realistic. There were a couple of things that, like, the twist I saw a mile away, you know,
Right.
but
There's nothing new here.
No.
But because she does all the tropes and all that, she just does it, to me, a step above, like, your bodice rippers.
Yes. Oh my gosh, yes.
And there's depth to her characters.
Yes.
And there's
There's
not
definitely
only were
backstories
her
to them.
in this particular book, not only were the romantic relationships realistic, the relationship between 6 college friends moving on to the next stage of their lives and kind of losing each other as they move on
Right.
through adulthood. You know, it's not that you have every minute to spend with each other anymore. You have other responsibilities, and each of them coming to terms with that in their own different way.
Right.
So it was, I just thought it was really good.
Yeah, no, I really like that one. And then we both also read Who is Maud Dixon by Alexandra Andrews. This is a story about a woman who is a publishing assistant who has to leave her job, and she gets hired by a reclusive artist or author who only is known by her nom de plume, Maud Dixon. Nobody knows who she really is, and this woman is hired to be her assistant and answer all her emails and basically deal with the outside world while the author does her thing writing. A lot of twists and turns in this one. I liked it a little bit more than you did.
Yeah.
I thought I didn't get tied up as much as you did with some of the twists and turns.
I was put off by an editing error early in the book, which kind of, because I kept waiting for an explanation of that to explain why there was this error, so that I was hung up on that, so that kind of jaded me through the rest of the book. It was a really, really good premise. It's a very good plot thriller. I just didn't think it was executed perfect.
as well as it could have
Right.
been. Yeah. So, but it was fun.
Because I mean, reading the plot, it could be like a 5-star thriller. She just, to me, didn't.
So I thought I
Didn't
did.
stick the landing.
Okay. All right. Then I read Nocturne by Alyssa Wees. It is a Beauty and the Beast retelling where the Beast is Death, and he is dueling with
Oh, that's Beast.
his brother Sleep. To me, it was not that great. I read somebody's review of it that said, this woman is like the queen of purple prose. Why use one word to describe something when you can use 12? It was not that long a book, and it took me forever to get through it because you had to wade through all of this stuff that could have been said in a paragraph. So, I did not like the writing in this one. I know there are people that love that, and that's wonderful. For me, it was like slogging through mud. I mean, this should have been a fairy tale length story. So I like the idea that Death was the Beast, and I like the idea that Sleep was in there, and the battle that the two of them were waging. I thought that was interesting, but
Again, editor.
yes, and I did not particularly like the protagonist. I thought she was a wimp.
Okay.
So did not do it for me as much.
Okay, I did the Bone Shard War, which is the third in the Bone Shard trilogy that I have been going through. I liked it very, very much. And for as long as series, I mean, it's only 3 books, but the books are long. And this is a very encompassing story. And she ended it very, very well.
That's good.
Sometimes they don't, like you're the one where they, you went from a really, really good story in book 1 to absolute porn in book 3. She did not fall into that trap.
Okay.
So it was a really, really interesting world, and it's not like it's a story so much as the world and the background, and there's so much to it, and there were just some really, really intriguing pieces of the world and the folklore and everything like that. Just really, really good. I enjoyed the whole trilogy very much.
I'm looking forward to reading that. Then I read The Sunshine Sisters by Jane Green. I like Jane Green's books. I like her as an author a lot. This one, it's about 3 women who are daughters of a famous actress, and the actress is dying, and she has not been the best mother. As a matter of fact, she is a narcissistic wench who was really kind of horrible to some of her daughters, but now as she is dying, she is trying to bring them back together because they are not only estranged from her, they are estranged from each other, and she's trying to bring them back together so they will be able to deal with her death. She has ALS, and she is planning to take her life. She doesn't want to go down into the depths of ALS. She, as I said, narcissistic. That is not the final view that she wants her public to have of her. So she is going to go out on her terms, and she wants her daughters to have made up with one another before that happens. So she gives them 3 days. She calls them all together and says, I'm doing this in 3 days. And actually, she gives them a week. And it's the 3 women are interesting, very interesting. I enjoyed it. I gave it a solid 3. It was it's not something that's going to stay with me always. There were certain things that tied into our lives since there are 3 of us girls. So I mean, there were the 3 boys also, but there are 3 girls. So there are things with that I saw some similarities with, but yes, they're
Not Jane Green's best.
yeah, not like, it was a good solid 3. It's a good book.
Okay.
You might enjoy it. It's just not one of my favorites. Okay.
Okay, my last one so far this month is Going Zero by Anthony McCartan. This is a really good book. I really enjoyed this one. This is a good thriller. It's the premise is that a tech company has come up with software that can track anybody They claim they can track and find anybody within a very short period of time. And so they set up a beta program where they pick 10 people from very different situations. And their task, the 10 people, is to go zero for 30 days. If you can remain undetected for 30 days, you will win $3 million. And the company is proving to the government, who they're trying to sell this tech to, that the 10 people will not make it through the 30 days. And there is one woman who is so smart and so good at this that she is thwarting them, and she's a librarian. So that they totally underestimated her, so that she was one of the ones I think that they expected to be able to grab right away. And she just had the whole thing so well planned. And there are twists and turns, it's a thriller that I just really enjoyed. It's also terrifying.
Yeah. The level of how they can...
tied into the system we are. So.
I enjoyed the parts where they caught up with people.
Yeah.
And what they had done wrong.
Yeah.
To get back onto the government's radar type of thing.
Because they focus mainly on her, but they do show you how the other 9 get caught.
Right. Because it's counting down the days and the hours, and it's telling you at 19 hours, 25 minutes, number 2 was caught. Right. That kind of thing. So it was a well-written book. It really was.
And everybody's plans on how they were going to go zero.
Right.
I love the one who decided to bring his girlfriend. So yeah, very quick read, short chapters.
That one's so fast.
Yeah, just really fun. And again,
so you listened to it on Audible.
Yeah.
I read the book because it was one that Helen had given me for Booknook last year. And some of the chapters are actually a page, right, or 2 pages. So really, really fast, easy chapters to read. But yeah, no, I enjoyed that one a lot.
Yeah, I inhaled it. So.
Yeah, that was a good one. Okay, I read The 7-Year Slip, which is by Ashley Poston. I thought this was an interesting book. It's about a woman who, she has her Aunt Anna Lee, and her aunt says to her periodically, let's just go someplace. And the 2 of them grab their passports and go. I really want to be this aunt. I want to have the unlimited funds that I can just go. However, her aunt has an apartment, and when she dies, she leaves it to Clementine, her niece. And the apartment has a neat little trick that periodically it will send you back in the past 7 years. So you open the door and think you're walking into your apartment as it is in now this time, and actually it's 7 years ago. And there are 2 major rules in the apartment. You always take off your shoes, and you never fall in love with anybody in that apartment, because there's a 7-year difference between you. So her aunt did it. She fell in love with someone in the apartment, and Clementine falls in love with someone in the apartment. And it's very, very interesting because you're going back and forth between now and 7 years ago. The characters are good. There were a couple of things where I was like, really, you're gonna make that this type of thing? This person turns out to be that person. It's just, okay. And I knew immediately who. When she started talking about the person she meets in the past, I knew immediately who it was in the future. There was no great mystery for me there, but it was a very interesting premise and good characters and good writing. I thought it was fun. Okay. So I put down that the banter was witty, which I really enjoyed. I love witty conversation between people. And my next 2 books have it as well, and I just really enjoy that kind of thing. So I liked it quite a bit. So that's a good one. So that is The 7-Year Slip. And then I have done White Silence, and right now I am doing to get the name of it, Dark Light. They are both by Jodi Taylor, who did the Somewhere in Time series, or the St. Mary's series. I enjoy them very, very much. I love her writing. I I really love her writing. So she is one that, if I see something by her,
she's an auto buy.
we will buy it no matter what. There are 3 in this series. It is about a woman who sees auras around people, colors around people, and by seeing them, she can tell if you're lying, or she can tell things from your past or things from just that are going on with you just by your colors. Some people have bright, warm colors. Some people have milky colors that kind of slip out and are kind of oily. She can tell if people are good or bad, or if they mean to harm her. And she's trying to keep this particular skill set hidden because there are people who want to use it. As they said, they could put her in a room with world leaders and they would know immediately who was lying and who was telling the truth, who was excited about something, who was pretending to be excited about something, and then they'd really like her to start manipulating people using these powers. So she is trying to stay away from those particular people, but that they're very, very good books. She has fantastic characters.
Yeah.
I love her characters.
And she has a very whimsical writing style.
Yes.
So you just love her characters and her writing and everything.
I do. I really enjoy it so much. And she, this is a slightly darker take on a slightly darker experience from her, because the St. Mary's Chronicles are really quite lighthearted, and the Frogmorton Farm, I think it's Frogmorton Farm, they're very lighthearted.
Yeah.
This is slightly darker and slightly more fantasy. There are fantasy elements to it.
Okay.
But good. Really, really, really good. I'm enjoying them very much. So I'm about 3/4 of the way through the... Oh, I only have an hour left. Okay. I'm 9/10 of the way through the second book. I read the first book in 2 days. I'm 9/10 of the way through the second book, and I will be downloading the third as
Her
soon as I
books
can.
are short, in and out.
Yeah.
Lots of fun.
But, I enjoy them so much.
Yeah.
So this is the Elizabeth Cage series, is how it's listed. But it's White Silence and Dark Light, and then there's the third one that I'm not sure of the title. All right, so that's what we're reading. Lots of good stuff. All right, so I think that is pretty much it.
We have been going for an hour and a half, so...
Really think that's about it, because Helen's got to edit this monstrosity. We probably should start off with, get a cup of tea and sit down and hunker down, because this is going to be a long one. I didn't realize it was going to go this long.
Right.
But yes, okay. Today is the perfect day to sit with, cooling beverage and a bit of slow stitching and sit and watch videos. So we're going to wrap it up. We hope you guys have a great rest of the week.
Go forth and create.
We will see you on Friday for our live podcast, 12 noon Eastern Standard Time. We will be talking about yarn pairing, so please come join us.
Yes.
And other than that, goodbye.